let's move forward. We got two more trades we got to talk about before we get out of here. Celtics and Fournier. Celtics ended up picking Evan Fournier up for 2 second-round picks. I don't know if this does it. I don't know if this moves the needle. Like, Fournier is a great... Let me relax. Fournier is a useful player. And I think in their system, if he's coming off the bench, as I think most people think he's going to do, he'll provide value and, some secondary scoring and ball handling. But, like, I don't know. This ain't it. For me, at least. This isn't it. Right? They got rid of Tice.
Yeah, I think...
But it's not it. Go ahead, Kev.
If you look at it in isolation, Fournier for 2 second-round picks, it's a deal. Right? Their guard play was shit, but I feel like their bigs were worse, right? So isolation this is a good trade, but if we're looking at the entire situation for Boston and the fact they had a 20 mil trade exception and they didn't get a big man,
29.
They didn't get a big man. It's a joke thing still. Like when that happened, I said, all right, like, is this the first of the second? Nah. Okay. So what are you doing then? Like, what are we really looking at here? Because you came out with Fournier, and again, I think he's going to really help them. But you also released Tice. As bad as he is, I didn't think he should have got waived. I don't think.
No, he didn't get waived. He got traded.
Oh,
you want to hear for what? For Luke Cornett.
Okay.
Yo, Tice leads the league
in
in illegal screens. Yeah, I watch every Celtics game. He has one a game. He sucks,
bro.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Fournier is good in retrospect. He definitely is, and this was the theme of this trade. For the mans that did make trades, they were going back to like what they felt was success for them in the past. So Denver did it with Aaron Gordon, where they said we lost Jerry and Grant, let's replace him with Aaron Gordon. Celtics lost Gordon Hayward, so they said let's go get Evan Fournier and slot him in that Gordon Hayward role. And Gordon Hayward wasn't the Gordon Hayward of now, so you would think that Fournier would be able to play that role. My issue is you get the trade exception, and that's what mans were really looking at. You get the trade exception, and then I have to hear that you traded Daniel Tice. He's not the best big in the world, but he's a valuable big man on your roster.
He sucks.
You traded him because apparently you don't want to go into luxury tax. That's why they traded Daniel Tice. And now I'll have to hear that you're in the buyout Martin for Andre Drummond. I'm glad Andre Drummond is saying fuck you guys, because you guys are not serious.
Well, hold on, Chris. You want to pay the luxury tax for a team that has a sub 500 record?
Fam, here's what I'm saying. Why were we talking about them taking on more with that? Because they would have been, tell me if I'm wrong or not, but if they took in a player that was $29 million into that thing, they would still be in the tax, no?
Yeah, but that's I don't think that's the point. The point is, even if they took that player
is the
on,
point, though.
No, but I'm saying if they took that player on, the expectation was that they'd be giving out enough salary for them not to hit the tax, or the player that they'd be taking on would be worth them paying the tax. But this doesn't apply in any scenario.
So let's look at scenario two. Let's look at scenario two. The player that would be worth them paying the tax, right? Mm-hmm. They got worse by trading Daniel Tice. Can that be agreed upon?
I think that guy's bad, so I'm not. I can't.
Yeah, Rob doesn't fuck with him still.
Right. I think. Well, I believe they got worse by trading Daniel Tice, and I believe that they lowered their chances of making a reasonable run. Whatever run they would have made, Daniel Tice would have been a big part of that because of the position that he plays. So to me, it's like you're not serious, bro. You're simply not serious, because you can't shoot yourself in the foot on one hand and then tell me why you're better in the other, bro. It doesn't work like that. They played on both coins on the same day. Got better, then got worse. What's the sense of that?
Time Lord, though. Maybe they want to give Time Lord more. He's been playing well.
He's been playing well, but they don't want to play him.
He's starting, no?
They don't want to play. He's starting for now. Brad Stevens went and prefaced a thing saying that, listen, Time Lord is more comfortable playing off the bench. I don't understand that, because the nigga's not gonna get comfortable until he gets comfortable in his new role. He hasn't started all year, but they clearly don't want to start.
That just means they don't believe in him. That just means they don't.
Exactly. They don't want to start him. So if you make that deal, sure. If you said, I'm gonna give Time Lord 30 minutes tonight and let him do his thing, but they don't believe in the man. So that just tells me they did it for money purposes. They got worse because they're watching pockets.
The way I see it is this. Go ahead, Kev. Go ahead, because I have a long take.
I think, like, if we look at that with this in mind now, that they're being careful about the luxury tax, like, we kind of have to preface our takes on Boston's now, because we kept pointing at Danny Ainge saying, "Yo, are you going to use this? Are you going to use this?" It's clear that it wasn't just that simple for him, right? Him trading out of the luxury tax is not his decision, right? That comes from ownership. That comes from people above him who are watching money as well. So it's kind of hard for me to then look at Danny Ainge now and say, "Oh, you didn't do this. You didn't use that. You didn't keep Gordon Hayward." It's hard to talk about that because I just don't know what they're dealing with, right? I felt like, had you asked me a week ago, I thought Boston didn't care about luxury tax. They were just trying to win. But now they're moving like a mid-market team in the sense that we kind of have to factor in money when we're talking luxury tax, this and that. How much is what worth? And it makes it harder to evaluate their decisions going forward. Go ahead, Ross.
Yeah, I agree, because my thing is this. I think Boston is in one of those situations where they don't want to overstep their boundaries. Like, okay, if we're talking about Vucci, and maybe Vucci is not even good enough for them to be willing to pay the tax, because remember, where they were currently sitting at the trade deadline was damn near the bottom of the table, 8th, 9th, 7th seed. Now they have to look at themselves in the mirror and say, okay, realistically, which player that we acquire right now with this trade exception is going to push us in the upper echelon with those top 3 teams, right? And make it worth paying the tax. And I don't think there was a body out there that did that. So ideally, what they would want to do is make a trade, get a guy in return, and if he makes too much money, send out enough salary so that you're still under the luxury tax threshold. And that might be Evan Fournier. But the reality is that the needle doesn't get moved, right? And like, this is one of those situations where I'm gonna spare Danny Ainge because, again, like, what was he supposed to do, right? Like, what was he supposed to do?
Yeah, we didn't know that he was dealing with. He had a money issue as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, then it goes into the whole record label, the whole crew, whatever fucking pox it on that track, like all of them. They all need to take this blame then, because they lied to the public. If I'm a Celtics fan, you lied to me. You let me believe that we are in a championship window and we're out here to maximize this window. That's what you guys told. That was the lie you
But
told to me.
also, Crystal,
And now if you're out here watching pockets, it's crazy.
but I don't think this is unique to the Celtics. So I think that any team would do this. It's different if Boston had went into the trade deadline and they were sitting in the 4th or the 5th seed with a positive
I agree
record. That
still.
was a whole different conversation, because then you could see a player coming in and lifting you into that upper echelon. But there's no way someone is realistically going to say, you guys have a sub 500 record, 7th, 8th seed. I'm going to pay the tax and hope like a guy like Vucci is going to make you a top 3 team in the conference. Nah, boss, I'm cool.
But
And I
yo,
don't think that's unique to the
do we
Celtics.
actually see them as where they stand right now?
Bro, it doesn't matter. It's
Nah,
where they
but that doesn't
stand.
change the fact that they're there, though. Like, we all agree that they shouldn't be there, but that doesn't change the fact that they're actually there, and they may
But
not.
I feel like I've seen, and like in the past, like I've seen situations where people say like, yeah, like these guys are the, like, I feel like I saw that just last year with Dallas, where you hear the narrative saying that, yeah, they are a 7th seed or they're the 8th seed, but they're no regular 7 or 8 seed. You know what I'm saying? That and in times with COVID right now, with like home court not really factoring into that degree, like, yeah, okay, they're making the playoffs. We can
They,
all agree. We know that.
I don't
You know
know
what I'm
that.
saying? And we do know that, bro. Stop,
I
stop,
don't know that.
stop,
I
stop the
don't know that.
foolishness. Stop the foolishness.
Chris, with like you're mentioning COVID, right? At the same time, going into the luxury tax now is more expensive because you don't have those fans coming in.
Fair. But what I'm saying is like, yes, like they're gonna make the playoffs, and we still believe they have 2 All-Star guards at probably the most important position in basketball right now. Two wing All-Stars that play defense. They have Kemba that's looking much better now of late. And to me, it's like the recipe is still there. Like, I'm not gonna look at Boston and say they can't win a round in the playoffs, because that's what you would say with a regular 8 or 7 seed. But we all know that's not the case.
But not to cut you off, Chris, not to cut you off. But here's the question I need to pose to you. That very same scenario that you're posing, first round, whatever, win a series, is that worth X amount of dollars? Because that's what it's gonna cost. If that scenario is gonna cost Boston $30 million, I guarantee they're gonna close the books and say it's not worth it.
Well,
Because
it's worth
that's
30,
reality
right?
we're
You have to
talking
go
about,
on
the
the
luxury
30
tax.
plus pay the tax. So.
So you guys are saying that Boston are no, you're taking Boston out of your, like, you can't fathom them being in the finals coming out of the East.
I'll put it like this. It's not that they can't do it, but this season they've shown a lot of dysfunction on the roster, so I don't have any faith in them doing any better than what they're doing right now. And on top of that, I don't think there's any one player that's worth paying the luxury tax that's going to make it or break their season. He's going to help, but I don't think there's any one player that's just going to come in and make them all of a sudden a contender.
Is a guy like Vucci worth $40 million a year? I guess that's the question. Like, because you're going to pay you're going to pay the, like, with the luxury tax, like, say it goes up to $40 million a year for the total bill. We saw the Warriors added Kelly Olynyk and it cost him $75 million, right? So let's say Vucci is going to cost you a total of $40 million with his salary plus the premium that you're paying the luxury tax. Is that worth how much better he makes you?
Those are I feel like if you add Vucci, like, again, I'm not the biggest Vucci fan, but like hypothetically, you would have 4 All-Stars on the team.
Yeah, but you had Gordon Hayward too. You didn't do so much either.
Who's the 4? Oh, Kemba. Sorry. So I think like they're probably looking at it and saying like, yo, we go into this year, whatever happens. We had a down year anyways. Next year, we still have those same guys on the roster who are supposed to be getting better aside from Kemba. So like, there's no need for us to, again, this is just, I'm thinking from their point of view. There's no need for us to pay X amount of dollars to maybe win an extra round this year. Because I think in their heart, they know as of right now, they're not a championship team. Can they become one? They might think they could, but that your thought process, what you think, can't overshadow the facts and what's in front of you. That's my opinion still. Because if you just go based on what you think, every team thinks their team is good. Everybody thinks their team has talent.
Nah, not every team still.
Every team thinks their team has talent. Every team thinks these young players have promise, right? And the fact is, most of them don't.
Yeah, but we're not talking about just a regular team.
No, I know, but I'm saying in general, you can go off based off what you think, but at some point, when it comes time to put money on the table, you have to acknowledge the facts. And I think
I hear you, but like in any case, like look at the Celtics right now. What are they? 9th or 8th, right? I'm not the biggest Miami Heat fan, so I disrespect them all the time. But I would say that would be a Game 7 type series. You see what I'm saying?
I feel like that should be 7-game series with or without Vucci, though.
With or without Vucci.
I think the Celtics are going to be tough this year or next year, regardless of who they with Vucci or without Vucci. Like, I think they're going to be a tough out regardless because
so Vucci doesn't move the needle then.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you add Vucci to this team, I don't know if I then just automatically pick them over a team like the Heat who then added Oladipo, right? Because we're forgetting that they also added Oladipo here. So I don't know. I just don't think it. Again, considering that they have an issue with money and that money means something to them, then I kind of understand why they might look at it and say, again, we're using Vucci, but I don't think he was an option because they didn't have a Wendell Carter to trade, whatever, right? But a player like Vucci or whatever, but he's obviously not Wendell Carter.
Tyson some picks.
But that's not going to be better than what the Bulls offered, obviously.
They have their picks. You just make it unprotected the same way. Top 3 protected.
But those aren't even better than a Bulls pick. That's not even better than a Bulls.
I hear you still.
That's facts.
And to
make it unprotected.
But I'm saying it's not better than a Bulls pick.
Yeah, unprotected Celtics pick is not better than a protected Bulls pick.
Yeah, it's not a top 4 protected from the Bulls.
I hear you. I hear you.
All right, yo, let's talk.